You think you are seeing the world right now? You think the light hitting your eyes is reality? You think your memories are accurate, your decisions are rational, and your perception of time is correct? You are wrong on every single count. And the strangest part? Your brain designed it that way on purpose. Start with something simple. Look at something in front of you right now. You feel like you are seeing it live in real time, as it exists in this exact moment. But you are not. What you are seeing is a reconstruction, a story your brain assembled from raw electrical signals, filled in with assumptions, patched with predictions, and delivered to your consciousness approximately 80 milliseconds after the actual event occurred. You are always living slightly in the past. You have never once seen the present. This is not a glitch. It is architecture, and it runs far deeper than you realize. Back in the 1960s, a neurologist named Benjamin Libet ran a series of experiments that quietly shook the scientific world. He asked people to flick their wrist whenever they felt like it, while he tracked both their brain activity and their conscious awareness of the decision. What he found was alarming. The brain began preparing the movement a full 550 milliseconds before the person was even aware they had decided to move. The conscious decision, that feeling of "I am going to do this," arrived after the brain had already started doing it. Your sense of being in control of your own choices is, at minimum, a reconstruction. A story told after the fact. The implications are staggering, but they do not stop with movement. Consider how you remember your past. You probably have vivid memories of significant moments in your life. You trust them. They feel sharp and specific and real. But in the 1970s, cognitive psychologist Elizabeth Loftus began systematically demonstrating that human memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction. Every time you retrieve a memory, you are not playing back a file. You are rebuilding it from fragments, and during that rebuilding, your brain quietly edits it, adjusts it to fit what you currently believe, fills in the gaps with things that seem plausible, and then resaves it. The next time you remember it, you remember the last reconstruction, not the original event. Loftus could make people remember things that never happened at all. In one famous series of studies, she implanted entirely false memories of childhood events in adult subjects. A lost trip to a shopping mall, a frightening encounter that never occurred. Around 25% of participants came to believe the false memory fully. They added details. They described how they felt. They were certain. And they were entirely wrong. Your past is not stored. It is authored. Now think about what you believe to be true right now. Your opinions, your preferences, your sense of who you are. You probably feel like these emerge from rational reflection, from evidence you have weighed and conclusions you have reached. But the brain does not work that way. Research by Jonathan Haidt at the University of Virginia demonstrated through a long series of moral psychology experiments that humans almost always feel their judgments first and rationalize them second. You encounter something, your gut reacts, and then your brain invents a logical justification for the feeling that already arrived. The reasoning feels real. The logic feels genuine, but it is largely post hoc decoration on top of something your brain had already decided. This is called the rationalization reflex, and it operates invisibly, automatically, and constantly. So why does the brain lie this way? Because it has no choice. Your nervous system receives approximately 11 million bits of information every second from your senses. Your conscious mind can process around 50. The gap between what is coming in and what you can actually handle is so vast that the brain must do something extraordinary to bridge it. It must predict, it must compress, it must guess. It must construct a simplified model of reality that is good enough to help you survive, even if it is not technically accurate. The brain you are using right now is not a camera. It is a sculptor. It takes raw, chaotic sensory data and carves from it a smooth, stable, coherent experience of a world that makes sense. The coherence is the lie. Reality is not smooth. Reality is not stable. Reality does not especially make sense. But your brain needs it to seem that way so that you can function. This goes all the way down to the most basic level of what you see. Look at the space just beyond the center of your vision, in your peripheral field. You probably feel like you can see it clearly. You cannot. Your eye has a region called the fovea, a tiny patch in the center of the retina packed with color-sensitive cells. Everything outside that patch is captured in much lower resolution, with far less color sensitivity. Yet the world looks rich and detailed all the way to its edges. That richness is manufactured. Your brain is filling in your peripheral vision with educated guesses based on what it already knows is there. You are not seeing most of what you believe you are seeing. You are seeing your brain's prediction of what should be there. And then there are the blind spots. You have one in each eye where the optic nerve connects to the retina, a hole in your vision where no photoreceptors exist at all, and yet you never see the holes. Your brain has stitched them shut with invented visual information so seamlessly that most people go their entire lives without noticing. You can only find your blind spot through specific tests designed to expose it. The rest of the time, your brain erases it from existence. You are not missing pieces of reality. You are living inside a completed painting that your brain finishes before you ever open your eyes. The philosopher Andy Clark calls this predictive processing. The brain, he argues, is not passively receiving the world. It is constantly generating predictions about what the world should look like, sound like, feel like, and then using incoming sensory signals not to build reality from scratch, but only to update and correct the model when something surprises it. What you experience as perception is mostly prediction. The brain is not a mirror. It is a hypothesis machine that uses the senses as a spell checker. This explains why expectations shape experience so profoundly, why the same wine tastes better in an expensive glass, why a placebo can genuinely reduce pain, why you hear your name in a noisy crowd even when no one said it. Your brain predicted those things into existence. It found what it was looking for. It confirmed what it already believed. And none of it felt like a construction. All of it felt like reality. There is something oddly liberating about this once it settles in. You are not broken. Every other human on the planet is doing the same thing. The construction is not a failure. It is a feat. A 1.3 kilogram organ has figured out how to take the blooming, buzzing chaos of the physical universe and turn it into an experience stable enough to navigate, coherent enough to share, and convincing enough that you never once doubted it was real. The question is not whether your brain is lying to you. It is. The real question is what you choose to do with that knowledge. Every time you feel certain about a memory, a decision, a perception, an opinion, there is a layer underneath that certainty that was assembled in the dark, filled with guesses, edited for comfort, and handed to you as fact. Right now, you think you are seeing the world clearly. You think your memories are accurate, your decisions are rational, and your perception of time is correct. And somewhere in the machinery running beneath your thoughts, a sculptor is still working, smoothing the edges, filling the holes, finishing the painting before you even know you are looking.